Welcome to Your Sleep Coach, the podcast dedicated to helping you reclaim your nights so you can live your best days. I'm your host, Devin Burke, best-selling author, TEDx speaker, and the founder of Sleep Science Academy. I help exhausted insomniacs fall asleep, stay asleep, and wake up energized using proven science-backed strategies and holistic coaching methods. So whether you're tired of tossing and turning or looking to optimize your rest for better health, you are in the right place. So each episode, we're going to dive into expert insights, practical tips, and real-life success stories to help you sleep deeply to live fully. No pills, no gimmicks, just the tools you need to create the sleep you deserve. So get ready to say goodbye to sleepless nights and hello to more peaceful, powerful, and present you. Let's dive in. Today, I'm excited to bring you an inside look at what really works when it comes to overcoming sleep struggles by sitting down with one of our very own Sleep Science Academy coaches, Kyle. Kyle has worked with hundreds of clients to help them break free from insomnia, anxiety around sleep, and unhelpful habits that keep them stuck in an endless cycle of restless nights. In today's episode, we're going to explore the most common sleep struggles Kyle sees and how to overcome them, why mindset and sleep anxiety play such a huge role in insomnia, the biggest mistakes people make when they're trying to fix their sleep, and actionable tips you can start using tonight to sleep better. So if you've ever felt stuck in a cycle of poor sleep and frustration, this conversation will give you practical, real-world insights from someone who's coaching people through this every single day. Kyle, thank you so much for taking the time to have this conversation. I'm excited to dive in deep and hear more about your story and talk sleep with you.
Always a pleasure. Appreciate you having me.
So let's kind of start with you sharing a little bit about your journey. Like, what led you to become a sleep coach? Give us some insight, some background.
Yeah, for sure. So I'll skip over some of the LinkedIn profile kind of history with it. And where it started was always, grew up a lot of value with health, performance, athlete growing up. So all this stuff kind of made sense, like this growth mentality, importance for health. And it was my sophomore year of college. I had a blood clot, and the blood clot kind of ended the baseball career. But with that, it was all my identity was wrapped into baseball. So it's like once baseball ended, it's kind of like, now what?
Mhm.
I'm stuck with my mind. I'm stuck with my thoughts. Who am I? And always like, growing up, had a lot of depression and anxiety that was present. So now that baseball's gone, like no outlets, no structure. It's like I'm just here with depression, anxiety, and it just hit me heavy. So for some reason, just a lot of struggling over the years, but just somehow got lucky. I feel like just the universe aligned, and I picked up the book A New Earth, which I know you're familiar with. It just happened to resonate as I was on my way to college and learn a lot. And it really resonated with me, the whole mindfulness approach and kind of how we relate to ourselves and life accordingly. And then just right on cue, I had an amazing mentor in college that she was a wellness coach. She was all about this kind of stuff, the meditation, overall, just holistic health. And yeah, she was such a meaningful person in my life. And from there, it just kind of took off. I recognized my own journey of how important the mind was for me. Cause typically when I think about health, it's just all about, weight loss, fitness, some of the nutrition, like some of the surface level stuff. But really, I was able to relate and see, hey, wellness is really this holistic wheel of different things: emotional well being, mental well being, flourishing. So, anyway, it all just kind of aligned and just had that passion for wanting people to simultaneously alleviate the suffering that they were going through and also go into flow themselves, like not just getting out of from like -1 to 0, but from 0 to that +1 flourishing, like really make that vision come alive. And, it's something that I feel lucky just things played out that way for myself. And I want to continue to serve and help others along the way in their path. So
Yeah.
that's
I
kind of the
love it.
journey of it. Yeah.
Yeah, so college, I didn't even actually know that about you, which is really cool. So you had so a blood clot ended the college baseball career, and then it sounds like you sort of had like this. You were sort of in, sometimes it's referred to as the dark night of the soul. It's kind of like what now? Like you had all this identity in being a baseball player, and then it sounds like a pivotal point was a book, The New Earth by Eckhart Tolle, which is incredible, and meeting this wellness coach. And then through the process of you learning and like working with your mind and understanding, you know, holistic health, it, then it kind of propelled you to then want to share that with others. That's kind of what I heard. Does that
Yeah.
sum it up?
Yeah. You nailed it. You nailed it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all intertwined. It's like whether it's fitness stuff, whether it is like, this deep, like the meditation, the Eckhart Tolle, what's preached in there. I mean, all this stuff is just intertwined. So, the work that we do with clients and how I got along like this path, it's all the meaningful, deep, soulful work. So it just, yeah, seems like the path.
And is that so, what specifically drew you to Sleep Science Academy? Like what was it that then had you decide, hey, like I want to start to I know you have some certifications in performance and mindfulness and holistic coaching. Um, what was it that kind of drew you to then say, hey, like, yeah, I want to kind of bring some of these skills into helping people sleep?
Yeah, for sure. So I'll give you just a very quick background on like some of the, certifications and how that aligns with this. So, been a wellness coach certified for, gosh, 8+ years now, personal trainer, mindfulness instructor working with athletes, anybody in the performance field, really. And that embodies just working on resilience, self compassion, how we can kind of quote unquote optimize and be in that flow state. So that was a lot of what I gravitated towards as far as my work. And then sleep science, again, things just align. I forgot actually how we connected, but it all works out. And when we were able to connect, everything just seemed like, yes, this is the what I'm about as a coach. This is what I see as the path towards all things wellness. Because we say it all the time, it's not just about sleep. What we do in here, it's about the deep inner work. It's about seeing ourselves. It's about working on our values, how we're nourishing our life, how we're nourishing our nutrition, acceptance, mindfulness, all these different things. So that's really, I mean, when I learned, what sleep science was about, it was an immediate, it never been a faster yes. So it just,
Yeah.
it all just aligns for what I value and what I really see is the path towards health.
Yeah, it is. I mean, and that is the work that we do here. It's really, helping people understand sleep's a result, right? It's not something, it's not a problem. And it really does take looking holistically, going deeper into yourself, looking at these patterns in your mind, in your body. And I love that you have that background in performance coaching because it's so helpful, and mindfulness, right? Because those are two big tools that we really think. Obviously, sleep's connected to performance, and mindfulness is such an amazing, amazing tool to help people understand and create the awareness around some of these patterns. To then, really explore them and get curious and do the deeper work. Um, so what would you say? I mean, as far as sleep coaching goes, like what would you say is the you find the most rewarding in helping people? We meet people at their lowest point, right? I mean, I've said this probably on every conversation with all of our coaches so far. People that aren't sleeping, y'all are tough. You're at, sometimes you're irritable, you're angry, you're frustrated. You're usually pretty skeptical when you come to us because you tried a lot of things that hasn't worked, and we get to meet you pretty much at your lowest point point of fear, anxiety, frustration, and grab your hand and meet you there, and then guide you to the other side of that. But Kyle, why don't you talk a little bit about what you find most rewarding, and also why is having a sleep coach a game changer for someone that's really struggling?
Yeah. So I would look at, and I'll steal Michael Gervais' kind of definition of resilience on here. So not just bouncing back, but bouncing forward. So that's what really kind of makes me come alive and gives me that, excitement, soulfulness as a coach is seeing not just, getting kind of back to normalcy per se, but the amount that people learn about themselves and how we can have this ripple effect into all areas of our life from going through this. So that's one of the be in my favorite moments as a coach is to see people when, because you're right. I mean, some of the hard, you know how it is. Like when you don't sleep well, it's harder to function. Like we're just a little bit more on edge. So for people to be in their arena with that, like that's such a courageous and brave thing to do, to like do the inner work and to face this stuff head on. So that's, as a coach, just like I really honor and I love seeing people like, hey, I'm here. It's hard, but I'm willing to do the work. So as far as why a coach is so helpful, why it's so important, all the above. Um, I mean, a mentor, it's so important having people on your health team. So, as far as like a logistics standpoint, we can talk about different things. We can kind of bounce ideas off each other. We can challenge each other. And what I tell people is, I'm not the expert here to tell you what to do. You're the expert in your own life. So really, I'm here to help you find the answers for yourself. So why it's so important to have a coach is I'm here just to help guide you to what you already know and all that's already inside you. So to help unlock that. And sometimes, it's just hard to get out of our own head. So having that accountability and having somebody there to ask meaningful questions or just to reflect and hold space is such an important thing because we are formed, harmed, and healed in relationships.
Mm.
So having meaningful people in our life just to hold space is just such a meaningful thing. I have coaches, I have mentors myself, and I think it's so important to have people on this health team. And as far as I'm sure you've had clients like this before. It's like sometimes even their spouse will tell them the exact same thing at their hold space, but like I
Mhm.
ain't trying to hear any of that stuff. So it's just nice to hear outside perspective as well.
For sure. And you do such a great job, Kyle, with the people that you work with, creating that open, safe space for clients to really kind of step into and be that voice to really hear what someone's saying and ask those powerful questions to help people get connected to those inner resources. And that's really what a great coach does is they ask super powerful questions. They're not necessarily telling you what to do. They're helping you, like you said, connect to your inner wisdom and really get to know yourself at a deeper level. And you do such a great job with those that you work with. Why don't we talk about maybe, I mean, at this point you've worked with a lot of different clients. Um, who come share someone that comes to mind, maybe a little bit about their story, where they were when you first connected, and then kind of take us through that journey from A to B, from not sleeping to sleeping and really understanding the deeper levels of like the work that we do.
Yeah, for sure. So I always say like, hey, no experience is preferred. We love them all equally. Sometimes we like ones a little bit more. So I'll say one that is out just because I know it is helpful to have that vicarious experience. One that stands out to me is I had a client not too long ago actually, and this participant struggled with sleep for maybe 20 plus years. And with this, one of the reasons why it's been such a struggle to get out of and creates so much pressure for this individual is because, like many of us nowadays, especially with social media, they care about their well being and they care about their health. And sometimes that over optimization can just create all this pressure to do things perfect, to have the right amount of sleep. Because if not, like, we want to perform well, we want to optimize our health. If not, we'll get all these different diseases or whatever, all these different fears that comes in. So this person was really caught up in the wellness struggle of kind of over optimizing and this perfectionistic mode. With this, combine that with the background of trauma, just fears about, hey, what's going to happen the next day? Other people telling them that, they don't deserve to sleep unless they work a certain amount of hours during the day, or they don't deserve to sleep unless, you are quote unquote good enough for the day, whether it's in the workplace or being a mother. So that is the background of this person. As we went through this process, just a lot of some of the stuff that we talked about, not new information because this person is so well studied. So it's not necessarily something that, oh, we're reinventing the wheel here. But what she was able to do is able to get out of her own way and connect at that deeper level to essentially just let go. So again, this is like nothing that quote unquote like we can conceptualize how to do some of these things like acceptance or letting go. But for her, it was the act of getting to that place. And that's the hard part. And that's the real work to be done is like how do we let go? So with this, one of the big thing and why I champion her is that she did this despite a whole bunch of fear, a whole bunch of anxiety. So one of the big paths for her was to get off of her sleep meds. And she knew that in the past, whenever she didn't take her sleep meds, sleep wasn't ideal. She may have went some sleepless nights in the past, but she wasn't willing to experience and accept that again, the possibility of having nights to where she might not sleep. But that was also the path that we needed to get over to have this healing process. So eventually, she was able to let go and be willing to say, I don't care if I don't sleep for a night. I don't care if I don't sleep for 3 nights, 4 nights, 5 nights. Like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to retrain my body and mind to say, I'm not reliant on these medications. But if I choose to take them, cool. But I'm not, I'm the one that's in charge here. That's exactly what she did. She actually went 4 nights in a row without sleeping. And after that, her sleep has been wonderful. So she did that. She was in, we've seen her community calls. She's kind of spread the message and she's still inspiration for some of the people in there because I always reference her to go back and watch one of those videos of how her experience went. And I think, again, the big thing I want to highlight with her is that she did it in spite of the fear, the anxiety, the stress being present. It wasn't like, hey, I'm going to wait till I'm fearless. I'm going to wait till I'm stress free, anxiety free. Then, like, when the time is right, I'm going to take this leap of faith, try to accept. It was like, I'm doing this even despite, I'm going to take this leap of faith. I'm going to accept whether it's pleasant, unpleasant, whether I like it, whether I don't like it. Like, I'm going to be here in the arena with it. That's exactly what she did. And from that, she just felt the confidence like, hey, okay, now I have evidence. I can do this and I can trust myself. I can trust the emergence of all this stuff to deal with it, my body to deal with it, mind. She still checks in every now and then just to kind of say, hey, still doing awesome. Yeah, so I'm gonna
Amazing.
champion her.
Amazing. Yeah, no, I think like so that's such a great story to share because I feel like so many of the people that we work with have a similar type of path. And I always say like people, you're unique, how you got here is unique, but what you're experiencing is not unique. And I think you really highlighted in sharing about her journey in some of the core elements of what actually helps people that have been struggling for decades, have tried all these things, like the letting go, the acceptance, being able to be with discomfort, being able to trust your body. Like, and like you were mentioning, Kyle, too, like some of these things, it's not like okay, step one, step two, do this, do that. And of course, everyone wants that. Like, and we do provide that, of course, when we work with clients, we do give you some structure. And a lot of the work is this inner work that we are really, you know, creating space for people to step into and really get curious about and explore. And that's so much. And I feel like that the story that you just shared really outlines sort of the arc of a lot of people's journeys of, trying too hard, trying to be perfectionist, controlling, forcing, letting fear drive the wheel, holding on too much and being dragged versus letting go. You really brought up a lot of the things, a lot of the topics that we coach people through and we cover in our program through that share. Um, yeah, and maybe let's kind of highlight and just kind of dive maybe one level deeper into this. Like, what do you feel with most of the people that you work with that has them have a successful transformation? Like, what is it that you see as a coach when you're creating the space, you're asking the questions? that you feel like when clients really understand or they get to experience really helps them make a tremendous leap or it creates a turning point for them? Does anything comes to mind?
Yeah, to the low hanging fruits, but they are like the bread and butter. It's for me, it's like trust and simultaneously acceptance. Those are the two. So if we were to kind of engineer a little bit, first call, we talk about vision. We want to really talk about like what's our vision of kind of quote unquote optimal sleep. We talk about just a little peek into what is your ideal wellness vision? Like, how do you want to show up? How do you want to be in the world? Like, what does your relationships look like? How do you want to be in the relationships? So even from that, we kind of take sleep off the pedestal to see health encompasses all these different things. So, we can be empathetic. We can be just a present father in people's lives. So we can do all these different things. That's part of our vision. So we actually kind of start there, and then we can, make some associations to see, hey, how we're showing up in some of these areas will actually carry into sleep, and vice versa. So when I get back to the point of acceptance, trust, if we actually want to get concrete with some of these things, the acceptance is such a huge one. And it's one that you hit the nail on the head. It's like there's not a 5-step process towards it. So it's like that acceptance and the willingness to be with whatever the experience is, no matter whether we like it, we don't like it, because so much of this stuff is like, push back, push it away. Nobody wants to, you know, go the next day without, with barely any sleep. Like nobody wants like some of these challenges that come with it. So, hey, it's normal, it's human, but the more that we resist that, the more that we push it away, that's what gets us stuck. So for me, and that also creates, hey, the more we resist, more pressure, the more anxiety shows up, the more we make it this thing. So the more that we're willing to be with that state of, hey, accept it, willingness. Easier said than done, but that is
Yeah.
like the path. That is the work right there. So that's one of them. And like simultaneously, if that doesn't resonate, to just kind of accept, trust, because the fear, it's not, it's like we never eat just once for the rest of our life. So like we think that we're going to overcome fear or stress and like, hey, we figure it out and then, hey, it's done. So like the more that we can trust that no matter what happens, we can trust our emergence that we'll be okay. That's definitely a pivotal point for so many clients. Is like there's a lack of trust with themselves that, if we really dive down to it, like we can trust we'll survive, we'll trust our body to do what it's supposed to do. We'll trust that we can show up and work. We can trust that we'll be a great parent, spouse, performer, whatever it is. So the more that clients get to that place of trust, the more that we kind of simultaneously, you know, favor the teeter totter and get out of some of that fear and anxiety. So, we don't have to be 100% fearless, but the more that we can trust, we say, hey, bring it on. Good. So what? Bad night? Cool. Whatever. Like, I got this, I'll bounce back kind of thing. So trust and acceptance. If I could just, yeah, hammer
No,
it,
that's
if I could, like, you put that in a vitamin. Whew.
well said. That'd be great. Yeah, I hopefully in the future we'll be able to find a way to do that. Yeah, and it's really well put. The antidote to fear can be trust, trusting in your body. And I think so many people come to us with a lot of evidence that they're broken, and they're looking for evidence to confirm that. Right. And so what we help people do through our coaching is really help people see, kind of turn their head, just the other way and look for evidence that they're not broken and look for evidence that they can trust their body versus putting trust in a pill or something else. Right. It's about taking that ownership back. And it kind of can sound overly simplistic. I think sometimes it's like, oh yeah, accept and trust. Like that's going to do it. And it's almost like, so simple. It sounds so simple. And yet, when it's experienced, it really is. Those are two massive, massive things that truly can help somebody that has been struggling with this for decades be able to actually allow their body to do what it knows how to do, sleep. I mean, we see it every day, right? So
Yeah.
but getting to that point it can be a real, real challenge for people. And, I think that the way that we do it is a bit unique to help, giving people the one-on-one support, giving them the evidence through data, giving them the community support, and really giving them the tools. Because a lot of times it's not just what you do, it's how you think about what you do. And that's a big part of the coaching process, right? Is really helping people learn how to think.
Yeah, spot on.
So
Yeah, too. Like everybody's like, okay, acceptance, like that's not sassy. Like, give me something else. Like, what else you got in there,
yeah,
Kyle? Like, what
yeah,
what do you have? What's the real thing here? So, but yeah,
right.
and your point is like, I use the quote, enlightenment is an accident, meditation makes us accident prone. So like this acceptance, all this stuff, it's like, hey, it's not just to go, yeah, we learn about it once. It's like it's a deep practice, which that's the plug for coaching, mentorship, who having those people around you.
Yeah, you need it, right? Because we all have blind spots. We all, don't know what we don't know. And no matter how self-aware, how developed of a person you are, how much work you've done in the past, you still have a limited view of your reality. And
Mm.
so that's the whole coaching process, is to kind of expand that view, to see, to create more possibility, I think, right? It's like, and that's such a gift, to be able to facilitate for someone. So let's, let's talk a little bit about the coaching experience. So when someone comes to Sleep Science Academy, what can they expect? Let's say you were the coach. Talk a little bit about, because sometimes some people never have had a coach. Were their first experience with coaching or any personal development or any type of deeper inner work, and it's quite different than therapy. But why don't you share a little bit about what someone can expect from a coaching session, what that maybe would feel like or be like.
Yeah. Yeah, to your point, I empathize with that. I remember my first time in therapy. I was just so nervous, and yeah, by the end of it, I'm like, yeah, walking around like I own the place. So it is, yeah, I think it's newness, it's nervousness. So, working with me, it's hey, bring whoever you are. Everything is welcome. I try to create an open, welcoming environment. So, I always encourage. I have clients like we talk about anything and everything. We talk about their dog, people are crying, we're talking about football. So it's like it's all this different stuff. I always try to have that invitation of like that fine balance as well. Like, hey, I care, like, this is a relationship. And also, keeping it professional so that way I'm here to support you and just be a helpful part of your journey. So what that looks like, yeah, lots of empathy, lots of compassion. Everything is welcome. I don't care what your experience is. Like, hey, it is all welcome. We can talk about it. I understand things are scary. It's good to get vulnerable in here. So when you're talking with me, we'll just have that safe space, hopefully, that I try to create with clients, try to be very personal and um, yeah, a lot of just co-collaboration, really, not telling you, hey, here's what you need to be doing. Here's kind of the stuff, no judgment. I'm just as curious about yourself. I'm trying to figure this stuff out and just trying to explore, hey, what does this vision look like for you? So working with me, that's a lot of what you get, just a lot of openness, to try to work hard for you that way, make sure you have all the tools that you need to feel like you are equipped well. Um, yeah,
No,
just
I love it. No,
yeah,
that's great. Yeah, I mean that's it's for some people. Some people never have had that experience in their life. Really, somebody that's not, they're connected to, maybe not a friend, not a intimate partner. It's like that, the gift of creating space just to show up as you are with what's coming up for you, in a non-judgmental place, where somebody that you do not know, that doesn't know your history, which is a good thing, is just amazing. And have somebody that can listen compassionately, and then also really just ask you the questions, that those questions are the questions are really the thing that creates the connection with your inner wisdom. And that's so much of coaching, is creating a compassionate open space and then asking those powerful questions to help people connect to, okay, this makes sense, this is clear, and then what's the plan to move forward. um, Kyle, why don't you share? So as we round out the conversation, I'd love for you to share maybe, something personal about yourself when you're not coaching people or studying coaching or helping people sleep? Like what's something that you enjoy doing that people that are listening to this can connect to?
Yeah. Yes. So the little about me question, I would say I'm rearranging the office right now. I'm trying to hang the triathlon bike up. So that's been my outlet lately. I say outlet. I'm in Michigan, so just enjoying the outdoors, the lakes, the most that I can. And with that, I guess triathlon seem to be the easy route per se. So just
Nice.
when I'm not sleep science, I'm finding flow out hiking with the dog, out one triathlon a year. So any fellow triathletes, we can connect. Maybe we'll see each other at a race or something. And
Nice.
yeah, that's just an exciting outlet and a way to kind of nourish my the performance aspect, brings in the mental skills. Just kind of it is all the competition, intrinsic work. So checks all the boxes for me. That's me. That's the exciting life. So I don't want health that into another.
Yeah.
But
Well, I know. I mean, it's Jonathan. I've done a few in my life as well, and I know that a big part of that is embracing pain and discomfort because training for one is painful, and it takes a certain individual to really be open to embracing that pain and also the discipline around that. It takes a lot of discipline to like really put in the hours on the bike, on the road, and in the lake or the pool or whatever it is. It's it's amazing to push yourself. Kyle, thank you so much, man. Thanks for making the time to share a little bit about yourself and your experience with clients. And for those of you listening to this, we, as you can tell, all of our coaches are amazing. They're all very different. They all have different backgrounds. We're here to support you. If you're looking for support, if you're looking for somebody who's compassionate, who's present, who's knowledgeable, who actually cares, obviously, I'm sure you can hear that in Kyle's share today, and that's why we're here. We're here if you need the help. So thanks for listening to your sleep pod coach. Your, Thanks for listening to your sleep coach, and we will see you in the next episode. All right. Now, if you're ready to take the next step towards better sleep and want expert guidance, my team and I are here to help. You can book a free sleep consultation to learn more about how our proven approach can work for you. All you need to do is visit sleepscienceacademy.com to get started. And if you're passionate about sleep health and you want to help others overcome their insomnia, you can also check out our sleep coach certification program, where you'll gain all the tools and the training you need to guide clients to better sleep and transform their lives. So whether you're looking to reclaim your nights or make an impact as a sleep coach, it starts with one step. That's visit sleepscienceacademy.com to learn more. Thanks again for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe, share, and leave a review if you found this episode helpful. Sweet dreams, and I'll see you in the next one.